Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miss back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We are here for the Major 3 major bracket predictions. I don't know why that was such a mouthful for me, but nonetheless, we are here. We are excited. Of course, the Toronto Major. I'm super disappointed that I'm not there currently. I had two separate plans to go to this event with two different groups of people. And unfortunately, they both fell through, so unfortunately, not much I can do about it, though. So, I'm here at home, which I'll be watching all weekend, of course. But nonetheless, guys, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Of course, we have a very interesting bracket, to say the least. Of course, this is a look at the winners right now, and that's what's going to matter most today. So we'll talk about those in just a moment. But then, of course, we have losers starting tomorrow. So is there going to be a team going on a run? It's very possible, so who knows? Nonetheless, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So we'll go in order of time, because why not? I'll probably make it fun. So to start things off tonight, of course, it's a late night because Toronto, this is accurate for me. Toronto is only an hour behind where I am currently living, so it's much more relevant to me. So it's probably late for some Americans, and especially late for the EUs. I've seen the schedule for the EUs. It's super late, so kind of feel bad for them, but nonetheless, let's get into it. So to start things off, we've got Seattle Surge versus New York Subliners, which is a very interesting series. Both of them coming off of pretty decent qualifying or qualifiers, I guess. So I'm very intrigued to see how this goes. Seattle's on a bit of a roll right now. New York, obviously, interestingly beat Texas, but lost to Toronto, so I'm not really sure where I place them. Of course, who knows, maybe it would have been different if Illy was in, but still, it's not like Optic looks bad with ProLoot, so I don't really know what to pick here, to be honest. I think I'm going to give the edge to the Subliners, but I'll do it in 5. I wouldn't be surprised if this series goes either way. Nonetheless, I think that'll be a very entertaining series. And I'll be able to hopefully start this series tonight. I work at 4 a.m., so I'm normally asleep by like 8:30 at the latest, 9 at the very latest. So I don't know if I'll really be able to watch Toronto versus Atlanta, but I hope I do. Honestly, I don't know who to pick here. Toronto's arguably looked better lately, but I don't know. Maybe Atlanta's going to come out hungry. It sounds weird to send Atlanta to losers in round 1, right? Like, that just doesn't seem right, So I don't know if that will happen, but honestly, this is the first time I've been really confident in Toronto since Major 1, and I am pretty confident in them, so I think they'll squeak by Atlanta. I really do. Maybe even win a hard point, who knows. So nonetheless, we'll continue on. We have Texas versus Florida, which will be a fun series as well. I'm intrigued to see if we get some more magic from Florida, but I cannot see Atlanta and Texas going down to losers. Ultimately, I just do think Texas will win this series, probably in 4. Now, this series will be interesting. We've had some interesting series between Minnesota and LAT this year already. What does this mean, though, for this series? Of course, I think, in my opinion, the Rocker are definitely the better team, especially right now. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 3-0. No matter what, I think the maps will be somewhat close. But honestly, yeah, I'm giving it to Minnesota. I'm going to give it to them in 3, honestly. Screw it. So then we can move on to Friday. We have losers. We have, of course, LAT versus Boston, Atlanta versus Paris, Florida versus LAG, and Seattle versus London. So, of course, tomorrow starts much earlier. And I think there's, I thought there was another match on Friday. Oh, I think there is. Yeah, this Elim round 2. So we'll go through Friday first. So to start things off, we've got Seattle versus London, which unfortunately I have the Ravens placing top 12. I just don't think they will beat the Surge. I do think the Surge is definitely the better team right now. Ravens have not looked very good. I don't know if they can change things around. Hey, it's very possible they can. And similarly, again, I think the LA Gorillas, unfortunately, are going to be placing top 12. I just don't have faith in them, but obviously I didn't have faith in them at the last major either. I just don't think they get that magic 2 times in a row, but I will give them a map. I mean, I guess, why not? So we'll continue on. So then we have Atlanta versus Paris. I don't know if there's any magic in this series, unfortunately. I'm going to give it to Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a pretty clean series for the most part. I wouldn't be surprised if Paris takes like a round 11 in map 2. Then we got Boston versus LAT, and I think this will be the end of the Thieves as well. I give it to the Breach. I really do. I don't think it'll really be that much of a challenge, to be honest. I still have absolutely no faith in the Thieves. Like, I really don't. Yeah. Finally, for the main event of Friday, we've got Florida versus Seattle, which is a very interesting series, and Seattle's impressed me, especially over the past 2 weekends. They've looked very good. Florida, unfortunately, doesn't look as good, so I'm going to give it to Seattle. I'll give it to them in 4, probably. So there we go. A bit of a loser's run so far from Seattle, and then we move on to Saturday. So to start things off at Saturday, we have Boston versus Atlanta, which is a rematch of the, winners finals in Major 2, but here in the losers quarterfinals, so obviously very different placings, but I will give the edge to Atlanta. Boston really doesn't look as good as they were in Major 1 and Major 2, so, more so Major 2, I guess, but yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I could see that series going either way. I'm pretty confident in most of these series, although maybe a little more skeptical between Seattle and Florida, skeptical between Seattle and New York, skeptical between Toronto and Atlanta. Every other series so far that I've made a prediction for, I'm pretty confident in. I could see this one going either way, but I'd say it's probably like 60-40, 60% Atlanta, 40% Boston. So it's close. But ultimately, I do think Atlanta will come away with the win. And then we move on to the winner side of things. So then we have Optic versus Subliners, which will be a really fun match. Of course, the Subliners low-key kind of destroyed Optic not long ago. I don't think they do it again, though. I think Optic cleans it up a little bit, and they make it a 4-game series, and then they go to the winners finals. And then we have Minnesota versus Toronto, and I think this will be a Minnesota win. I think it'll be a 5-game series. I think that'll be one of the best series of the weekend. Their series normally are some of the best in the CDL. So, yeah, our winners finals is decided. We have Minnesota versus Texas, which will be fun. Continuing on through Saturday, we have New York versus Atlanta, which will be a fun one as well. And honestly, I think I'm going to give it to New York. This is another toss-up, but am I going to give it to New York? Either way, I mean, if it's 5 games, I feel like it goes to New York, but if it's 4 games, I feel like it goes to Atlanta, Who do I want to win? Or who do I want to win? I'd rather New York win. Do I think Atlanta does lose here in the loser semifinals? Or is this, I don't know, is this semifinals and losers? I think so, yeah, I don't know, nonetheless, am I going to give it to Atlanta or New York? This is a tough one, this is a really tough one, to be fair. Ultimately, I don't know, I have a good feeling about New York. I'm going to give it to New York in 5. I think they just get by Atlanta, and like for the first time ever, basically, Atlanta won't place top 4, so... then we've got Toronto versus Seattle, which will be a really fun match, and I'm very intrigued to see how that one goes. And this is a pretty close series as well that, honestly, I think could go either way. Does Seattle continue the losers run, or do they get bested by Toronto? That is the question. I think I'm going to give it to Toronto in 5. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle wins that series, though. I really wouldn't. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Toronto in 5, which means, Seattle goes 0-2. I was going to say 0-2 against New York, but no, I guess technically not. Sorry. If they had have moved on, then who knows? I mean, I guess they could have gone 0-2 against New York, but there we go. We have our final four. We have Minnesota, Texas, New York, and Toronto. So, an interesting Sunday for sure. We've got some unfamiliar teams to the final four really this year. I mean, kind of, I guess. So, yeah, to start things off at 2:30, we have the winners match, Minnesota and Texas. So, I am going to give this to Texas, but I think it'll be a very close series. Does Minnesota really lose in a map 5, though? I don't think so. I think it would be 4 games instead. Yeah, I think I'll go 4 games instead. So, Texas goes to the winner, or goes to the grand final, sorry. And then we have Toronto versus New York, which will be a fun series as well. And I'm going to give the edge to Toronto, I think, or to New York, sorry. I think they will best Toronto this time in a pretty close series. And that'll be the end of Toronto. Top 4 for Toronto. And then we have Minnesota versus Minnesota versus New York to face Texas in the best of 9 grand finals. So Minnesota versus New York will be another fun series, but I don't know. I am sure Krim would absolutely love to go to the finals. They could be a very hungry team this weekend, I'm sure, but I think both of these teams will be. So, oh, this is tough. This is really tough. So in third place at Major 3, I am going to say... oh man, this is so hard. This is so challenging. I'm going to say third place goes to the Minnesota Rocker. Yeah, I think third place goes to the Minnesota Rocker, and we will have a Krim versus Scumpy final, grand final, for the first time in a long time. So that'll be fun. That'll be interesting, man. That would be like the first time since probably Ghost, I'm thinking, which would be very interesting. So ultimately, who takes it? I mean, New York obviously just won the mid-season break, the Pro-Am. How much do you really take into that? I don't know. It's very possible that Texas wins here with a sub. I mean, I guess I don't know for sure if Illy is back. I had seen something about Illy, but I don't know if he's playing or not yet. Wow, this is really challenging. I think it'll be a pretty long series. I think it at least goes to 3-3. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back and forth till 3-3, but then someone wins 2 in a row, or maybe 3 in a row. Do I want... I don't know. I really don't know. I think... oh, man, this is really challenging. Man, like, thinking about it, this is so challenging. Who's the better flex? That's honestly a good question. Who's the better sub-duo? Honestly, a good question. And who's the better AR? I mean, I'd give the edge to Dashi on the AR, but... oh, man. And I guess it depends on if it's Prelude or Illy. Who is the flex? If it's Illy, then Illy's got the advantage on flex, probably. But the subs are an interesting one. Of course, Hydra and Shotzi are super even. I feel like Hydra would be hungry. I mean, I feel like Paul would be hungry as well. To be fair, I mean, I feel like everyone in New York would be hungrier than Texas, honestly. So, does that make my decision? I really don't know. This is really challenging. Fuck. Shit. I really don't know who I think is going to win this series. Oh, this is super challenging. I think I'm going to give it to New York in 8 games. Yeah. New York, Crim 6, going for number 39/number 40, depending on if you count the Pro-Am, I believe. So, yeah, there we go, guys. I will save my predictions. Not super confident in the Sunday matches, to be fair, but who knows? Anything could happen. So, there we go, guys. Those are my predictions. I have top 12. I have the LA Thieves, the Paris Legion, the LA Gorillas, and the London Royal Ravens. Top 8 and 7, I have the Florida Mutineers and Boston Breach. Top 5 and 6, I have the Atlanta FaZe and Seattle Surge. Top 4, or 4th, I have Toronto. 3rd, I have Minnesota. 2nd, I have Texas. And 1st, I have New York. So it'll be a fun one. I really wish I could be at this event. Unfortunately, my plans fell through. I mean, I could buy a ticket right now and go, but I work this weekend. So unfortunate, but I am going to look into maybe going to either the New York major for Major 4 or Champs. I was really hoping to be able to do all 3 of these. I was hoping to do Toronto, New York, then Champs, wherever that may be, but unfortunately that's not the case. Nonetheless, I'm hoping my first COD event will be this year. So that'll be it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you all did enjoy. I'm sorry this is a long one. Some of these matches are really tough to call, and I mean, these could definitely be laughed at very, very soon. So nonetheless, thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.